Welcome to Relate Higher, a podcast dedicated to providing the leading standard in conscious higher relating and to teaching you a conscious framework for all of your relationships. This is your go-to resource for developing meaningful, conscious relationships across your life. I'm your host, award-winning relationship coach and consultant and former family lawyer, Letitia Ringe. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today we are exploring how to create a more loving relationship with yourself. This is part of our second series on the podcast, which is all about creating and cultivating a conscious relationship with yourself so that you can create great, satisfying, successful, and fulfilling relationships across your life, including your love life. Now, when we use the word conscious, you can simply replace that word for great, because what creates a great relationship is having more consciousness in the way you approach your relationship with yourself and your relationships with others. In today's episode, we're exploring how to create a more conscious relationship with yourself, which means a great relationship with yourself, through understanding and accepting yourself as a human. Now, when we talk about understanding and accepting ourselves as a human, we are talking about love. So we will be exploring self-love, unconditional love, self-awareness, self-acceptance, and creating a more secure relationship with yourself. So for all of you who love attachment style and attachment theory, you will love today's episode and find it extremely helpful, because creating a more secure relationship with ourselves is all about creating a more loving relationship with ourselves, particularly in the way that I'm going to teach you about the topic today. So if you're anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, anxious avoidant attachment, disorganized attachment, insecure attachment, if you've self-identified or been professionally identified in any way or exploring any of these attachment styles, today will really help you, because it will help you learn how to move towards secure attachment with yourself and the way you show up in your relationship with yourself and also with other people. Okay, let's talk about understanding and accepting yourself as a human. In order to transform, in order to grow, in order to enjoy your life, you need to understand and accept yourself as a human. Now, part of this is recognizing your humanity as a human. You have flaws, you have gifts, you've had experiences that are great, you've had experiences that are not great, and all of this is to be accepted and understood by you. When you understand and accept yourself, you recognize that you are a human. You recognize that you are imperfect, perfectly imperfect. You recognize your humanity. Now, something that happens within the personal development and self-help industry is that we use perfectionism, which is really fear, as our driver for our personal development. So we actually go about trying to grow and change and evolve and progress from a place of wanting to be different than who we are. This sets you up for failure every single time, because it does not come from a place of love for yourself. Instead, it comes from a place of fear. And what it does is lead you on a path which is very uncomfortable, full of misery, because you're beating yourself up throughout the process, not loving yourself. And then the place that you find yourself, the outcomes are not aligned with who you truly are. So you'll find yourself in places that you don't even want to be. And you'll still be trying to be on this endless search of perfection, because you'll never arrive there. What you're looking for is how you think you'll feel once you arrive there. And one of the ways you think you will feel once you arrive there, if we boil it down to the simplest quality that everyone is looking for, it is more love rather than more fear. But the truth is, the power is in your hands right now, today, without changing anything around you. It doesn't matter what path you're on, what experiences you're having, who you're in relationship with, how much money you have, what career you're in, how many children you do or don't have. None of this matters. You get to decide that you are perfect where you are, that you are perfect as you are right away today. And that will allow you to experience more love for yourself today. So understanding and accepting yourself as a human is recognizing your humanity, which is how you're functioning anyway, which allows you to recognize and appreciate the humanity in others. And it's within your power to embody this quality today. This is one of the first ways we create a more loving relationship with ourselves. It is understanding and accepting ourselves. And to do that, you have to recognize your own humanity. You are perfectly imperfect. You're unique. You have a unique set of gifts and weaknesses that are perfectly designed for you. See them and accept them means you can use them, which ironically actually leads you to growing and evolving and progressing in far more aligned and infinite ways than when you're beating yourself up along the way, trying to get yourself to somewhere in the future because you think you'll love yourself more once you get there. And when you're not beating yourself up, you have a much more enjoyable journey and you usually end up in a place that you actually want to be. So, understanding and accepting yourself as a human is about understanding and accepting your humanity. It's also about understanding how you work as a human. And part of that is understanding that you have 3 different systems within you that are communicating with you at all times. They are your mind, your body, and your intuition. Each of these 3 systems communicates to you in different ways, which means you need to listen to them and connect with them in different ways. Your mind is thinking. It's thinking all the time. There's so many ideas, beliefs, stories. Some of them are supportive of you, others aren't. You tend to think that everything your mind says is true. But the truth is, it's not all true. Some of it's just what you've been handed down through your family and your parents and your friends and your school and your television shows you've watched, society at large, and others are supportive thoughts that you've decided, this is what I want to believe about the world. This really supports me, and so I want to believe that. So part of working with your mind is recognizing what it's actually believing and also recognizing your power to steer your mind in a direction that actually supports you in experiencing the life that you want to live and creating and experiencing more love. If you want to experience more love in your life, use your mind. Your mind can think more loving thoughts that make you feel more loved, and that results in more loving experiences. Okay, then there's your body. Now your body is communicating in a different way. It's not communicating through words. It's not communicating through ideas, through intellect. It's communicating through you, through your body, through physical sensations, also through emotions. And so you being able to tune into your body and understanding how you're physically feeling, and then having the emotional intelligence and understanding how to identify what that actual emotion or sensation is trying to tell you is a superpower. The more you look after your body, the more it will stop fighting you. This allows you to progress and change and evolve in a much faster way because the body is the slowest part of us. So the more you understand and listen to and respect your body and understand that your body is part of you, the more you will get your body on side and the more wiser you will be with the decisions you make because they will support not only your mind but also your body and the body intelligence that you're receiving. Now, the third voice or system within you is your intuition. This is also sometimes referred to as your soul. I like to think of it as our inner wisdom. It is the part of you that is timeless. It is formless. It is the part of you that seems to have this high vantage point, as if it's looking down upon you and your life, the past, the present, and the future, always able to guide you from a place of love and abundance, from a place where there is no fear, from a place that isn't limited by your physical form or by the time that it is right now or by your past experiences or your future experiences. Your wisdom, your inner wisdom, is the part of you that comes from that wise, peaceful, loving place within you, gently guiding you. And guess what? The way that we communicate with this part of us is through receiving. We're not trying to think about how and what our inner wisdom is saying. Our inner wisdom is something we receive. And we all have our own intuitive library. We all have ways that our intuition speaks to us. Sometimes it's through words or a sense of knowing, or through signs and synchronicities. Sometimes it's through images and pictures. There are many ways your intuition will communicate with you, and your job is to understand and accept how your intuition communicates with you, and to create more space to have conversations with your intuition. Now, understanding and accepting yourself as a human is not only about accepting your humanity and understanding these three systems within you, it's also about understanding that you have two creative sources of power that work differently, but they support one another. This is what we typically refer to as your masculine and feminine energy. I will be dedicating an entire episode on this subject in our next episode. For now, it's important for you to know that these two energies work in different ways, and it's not about choosing one over the other. It is about understanding how both operate within yourself and your life, and doing the work to have a great relationship with both without favoring one over the other. It's also about shifting into a healthy, conscious relationship with both, rather than expressing them in an unhealthy and unconscious way, which can wreak havoc on our lives and stops us from creating the transformation as well as the relationship experiences we want in our life. Now, finally, on understanding and accepting yourself as a human, you also want to recognize that you have been brought into this world with certain gifts as well as certain weaknesses. These gifts are yours to recognize, which you will only do through understanding and accepting yourself as you are. And you also want to recognize that these weaknesses are actually what allows, in some cases, your gifts to be performed even better than what they are by other people who don't have those same weaknesses. And secondly, your weaknesses allow you to be supported by other people who do have those gifts and can support you so much more easily than you trying to figure it all out by yourself. So actually, your weaknesses give you the opportunity to connect with others by being supported by others. And your gifts allow you to support others. So we want to recognize that our perfect combination of gifts and weaknesses allow us all to be connected, and it's through understanding and accepting these that allow you to utilize your gifts in the most highest and infinite way you can. Understanding and accepting yourself as a human also means understanding that you have had experiences in the past, you will have experiences now, and you will also have experiences in the future that will be good and bad, some better, some worse than others, and none of that affects your worthiness as a human. You are worthy no matter what experiences you have had in your life and will have in your life. The other people in your life are just as worthy as you are. No matter what they've done, no matter what they do, we're all worthy. Worthiness just is. It's not impacted by what we do. We're all worthy. Think of the worst thing you ever did, and now think of the best thing you ever did. Neither of these two examples impacts your worthiness. You are worthy just as you are. Okay, so that's what you need to understand about understanding and accepting yourself as a human. Now let's talk about self-awareness. Understanding and accepting yourself as a human is all about self-awareness. The more aware you are of yourself, of your gifts, of your experiences, of the three voices within you, of your creative power, of everything that's happening within yourself, of everything that's happening in your life. The more conscious and aware you are of yourself means the more you're able to see yourself. The more we're able to see ourselves, without judgment, the more acceptance of ourselves we experience, and thus the more love we experience. Let's leave love to the side for now and just focus on self-awareness and self-acceptance. So when I am truly seeing myself, I'm not judging myself. The reason for that is I cannot see myself fully and truly unless I'm seeing myself without judgment. Let's use an example. Let's imagine that I believe that I'm a really mean person. I think that I'm just mean, it's just who I am. And so when I look at myself, when I see myself, I look at myself through a lens of I'm a mean person. That means I look for all the examples of how I'm mean, instead of just seeing how I am. Seeing how I am in this moment, which maybe has got nothing to do with being mean. Seeing how I am in the next moment. Seeing what else there is that's true about me other than this lens of meanness that I'm looking at myself through. Imagine applying this to another person. You might think that they're a bad person. And so every time you relate with that person, you look for examples to support that story of them being a bad person, rather than just seeing the person as they are. Which example gives you a better view and understanding of that person? It's the version where you're not judging the person, you're simply seeing. When you see, you are more aware. And when you're more aware, you can make better decisions for yourself and your relationships. So self-awareness is about practicing self-acceptance, practicing not judging what you're seeing, but accepting what you're seeing so that you can make better decisions for yourself and for whatever you're seeing in your life. Self-awareness is also what leads to self-love and unconditional love. Because when I see myself, I accept myself. And therefore, because I accept myself, I love myself. When we're coming through a lens of fear, we're afraid to truly see. And so we judge to shut ourselves off from fully seeing ourselves. We never experience self-acceptance, which means that our awareness of ourselves is limited. We can't possibly make great decisions for ourselves from that point of view because we're not truly seeing all that is. So self-awareness is what creates self-love and unconditional love. Now, what I want you to know about self-love is that self-love is about simply loving yourself. And in order to love yourself, you simply need to accept yourself as you are, accepting your humanity, accepting that you're worthy no matter what you experience, accepting that you've got 3 different voices within you, all giving you different bits of information and which needs you to communicate and care for them in different ways, accepting that you have 2 sources of creative power that work independently and interdependently with each other, and accepting yourself as you are and where you are today. Strangely, what happens is the more that you do this, the more you accept yourself, which means the more you love yourself, the more you actually take positive steps to support yourself, to change, to grow, to evolve in supportive ways. Not because you need to become a different person, but because you're truly taking steps for your personal development that come from a place of love for yourself instead of from a place of fear about yourself. So the difference between self-love and unconditional love, therefore, is when you love yourself without conditions. This is what we all want to be striving for. But we've all been told this story that if we love ourselves without condition, then we won't be the best people that we can be. But the opposite is actually true. One of my favorite books about this subject is On Becoming a Person by Carl Rogers, who is a psychotherapist who has studied and researched, spent many decades exploring these topics. What happens in a transformational space is that a person is more likely to transform, to grow and evolve when they feel accepted. As a space holder or a coach, we practice this with our clients in order to help them transform. We give them our acceptance in order to support their transformation. What becomes the most effective, however, is when the person themselves learns to do this. So the more you accept yourself, the more you love yourself. And the more you love yourself, the better decisions you can make to support yourself, and the more you are able to transform, grow, and evolve in positive ways that truly support yourself and are backed from the energy of love. So self-love is all about seeing yourself. It's about seeing yourself and accepting what you're seeing, so that you can make better decisions for yourself that come from a place of love, and so that you naturally will allow and support yourself to transform, grow, and evolve in ways that are truly aligned and supportive of you, rather than endlessly striving to be someone else or to end up in a place where you think you'll finally be able to love yourself. Self-love exists in the now, and it exists through seeing and accepting yourself as you are now. And unconditional love is seeing and accepting yourself and loving yourself through the journey. No matter what you experience, no matter what the conditions, you love and accept yourself through that journey. And this sets you up to experience and practice and cultivate an environment of love and unconditional love within your relationships too, which is what makes people want to step up into a higher version, their highest version of relating with you, because they are stepping into a naturally transformational space. So the better you practice self-love and unconditional love with yourself, the better you're able to practice that with others. This allows you to expand your capacity for experiencing great, thriving relationships across your life. Just to ponder this for a moment, imagine that you're in a relationship with someone who is loving you and accepting you through the journey, through the process, at every moment along your relationship and journey together. Is that going to encourage you to continue on the journey? Is that going to encourage you to show up at your best? Is that going to encourage you to want to keep coming back to this person? The answer is most likely yes. But what we tend to do is be the other person in the relationship to ourselves who says, I don't like where you are. Where you are isn't good enough. And so I'm going to withhold my love and instead use fear to motivate you to change and evolve, to go somewhere else, to be somewhere else different, to get to some place in the future where you're different to who you are right now. And then when you get to that place in the future, you remember how badly you treated yourself along the way, and you then resent yourself or the other person for the way they treated you. We want to practice love and acceptance now, because all of us want to create more love and acceptance in our relationships with ourselves, in our experience of life, and in our relationships with others. Finally, unconditional love is what creates a more secure relationship with yourself. When you know that you will love yourself no matter what happens, when you know that you will love yourself no matter what you're seeing of yourself right now, when you know that you trust yourself to make the best decisions for yourself because you can trust yourself to see everything that's needed to be seen to make the best decisions, when you trust yourself that you will make all decisions and move towards any change or progress from a place of love rather than fear, you will create a secure relationship with yourself because you back yourself, you see yourself, you're there for yourself. And this is what we are all wanting from other people in our life. We want someone to always be there, to never leave us, to be able to trust them. You have the power to do that right now, and it's done through self-love, through unconditional love, through self-acceptance, through self-awareness, and in its simplest form, through understanding and accepting yourself as a human. When you do this, you not only improve your relationship with yourself, you not only cultivate a conscious relationship with yourself, you also expand your capacity to experience more love, more consciousness, more greatness in all of your other relationships, and most significantly, in your relationship with a romantic partner. Okay, my beautiful friends, so to close out today's episode, I'm going to leave you with a little story that will have you thinking about what is better, and also some journal prompts so that you can integrate everything we've learned. First, let's start with the story. Okay, imagine that you're a child and you're raised in a family where you are loved and accepted for who you are. You're loved for your gifts, you're loved for your weaknesses, you are fully seen as and for who you are in this moment, and the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. You're able to change because you will be seen at every moment along the journey. You are accepted for your desires, you're accepted for your experiences. It doesn't matter what you experience, you know that you will be loved and accepted. You are connected with your intuition, your mind, and your body because you are accepting yourself as a human and all of these three voices. You are in your creative power because you're working with both your masculine and feminine energy. You don't favor one over the other. They're both part of you. And you move throughout life with your worthiness, always remaining the same no matter what is happening around you. Compare this to a situation where you are raised by a family who is constantly telling you to be something other than who you are and where you are. They want you to be somewhere different. They only see a little part of you. They don't recognize that you have your own mind, your own intuition, your own body that's communicating with you. In fact, all of that is ignored. Perhaps you favor your masculine energy over your feminine energy because that is what has been more accepted and approved by your family. And as you move throughout life, you're really beating on yourself and fighting yourself, telling yourself you need to be different, you need to change, and you're trying to get yourself to be different and to change, but you just keep coming back to where you are. Ask yourself which is the better and more loving environment. Which environment would you prefer to be in? And which environment would lead to more positive personal development and a more positive experience and journey of that personal development? I'll leave that question with you. Now to our journal questions. Journal question number 1, what does it mean to be a human and to see the humanity in others? Journal question number 2, what are the 3 systems within me and how do each communicate with me? Number 3, what are some of my gifts and how have my weaknesses allowed others to support me or allowed me to have better gifts? What am I attaching my worthiness to and how would it feel to be worthy no matter what? What does self-awareness mean and how do I expand my self-awareness? What does self-love mean and how is self-love different to unconditional love? What does self-love have to do with creating a more secure relationship with myself? And finally, how can I create a more loving relationship with myself today? I highly encourage that you take the time to access the wisdom within you to answer these questions. This will allow you to deepen your learning from the episode as you'll move from passively consuming into integrating and having your own realizations, which will be so much more powerful. And it also allows you to understand what you've learned, not only on an intellectual or mind level, but also on a body level. This is so important for effective learning and transformation, and it will set you up for an easier job at loving yourself. And that's what ultimately the goal is of this episode. So my beautiful friends, finally, if you want to go deeper into creating a more loving relationship with yourself or creating a more conscious relationship with yourself and improving the quality of your relationships across your life, whether it's with a romantic partner that you're with right now or a future romantic partner or a friend, a family member, or in a professional context, I want to invite you into my private coaching program called my Conscious Relationship Coaching Program. In this program, you will learn how to love and accept yourself, how to create and cultivate a conscious relationship with yourself, how to enter into conscious relationship with others, and how to approach any relationship and wherever you are in that relationship right now consciously. This is the key to creating satisfying, successful, and fulfilling relationships across your life. When you learn how to do this in one relationship, whether it's only the relationship with yourself or in one of those relationship areas across your life, you set yourself up to practice relationships in this healthy, conscious, and fulfilling way across all the other relationships in your life. To find out more about working with me, head to relatehigher.com/CRCP. I'll see you there. Thank you for listening to Relate Higher, your go-to resource for learning how to consciously approach all of your relationships. To deepen your learning and practice, make sure you're subscribed to receive the Relate Higher community newsletter. This is a weekly newsletter sent to you every Monday, providing further coaching and education to support your relationships. Subscribe at relatehigher.com/community. And if you haven't yet left a 5-star review for the podcast, we ask that you please do that now so that this podcast can reach other listeners who also want to learn and practice conscious higher relating. Because remember, the more people who learn, the better relationships we all enjoy.